Welcome to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I'm your host, Darrell Scott, and together we will dive into the lives and careers of the jazz legends who have left a rhythmic imprint on the world. Be prepared to reminisce on the highs and the lows of their musical journey and the trials that sculpted their timeless musical gems. We'll preserve the legacy of these extraordinary maestros and find inspiration in the melodies of their lives. Subscribe now and never miss a beat. Now, let's get to the show. Hi there. Welcome to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I am Darrell Scott. Our guest today, he was the Billboard Breakout Artist in 2018. He's consistently been in Billboard's Top 20. He's a sax player, and I want to get into that dynamic of being a sax player in this world of being. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Ryan. Jeff, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Darrell. Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Hey.
Thank you, sir. Here's my first question. I'm a sax fan. I love them, but I go back to Grover and Sanborn and so forth and so on. And I know some of your influence are in that older group. But why did you pick the saxophone considering the other 9 million saxophonists that are out there? What makes you different than the rest of them?
It's an interesting question. It's actually it seems like there's two questions there. It's like, really, why did you start? And
Right.
really, why did, I remember being a kid. I think I started when I was 10, but even before that, my dad was a concert pianist. And then my grandfather was a music teacher, heavily into violin. My aunt was a cellist. My mom was an organist. Everyone played music. So it was something that was always there. But I will say, having my dad be a concert pianist, and it's such a high level one. I mean, it was always there. There was always Prokofiev, Liszt, Rachmaninoff being played in the background. And it's just, I loved it. And I love the emotion and the expression that you have on there. And I think that's what really connected me with music. It wasn't just like, oh, you're playing an instrument and all this cool, flashy stuff. It was that the amount of beauty and the amount of depth and the story that could be told from these instruments. It's like, God, it's just like, it feels right. But as I got older, I just didn't want to play piano or violin or cello, but I did get an album. It was right before that, it was an old Tower of Power, Back to Oakland.
Yes.
Album. And I was like, man, these horns are just crazy. And it's just that, like, it's just something about that, really, the power and the energy really connected me. But I will say, even going forward a little bit, I got another album later that was like Grover Washington and then also Richard Elliott, and hearing the more focused, just solo storyist kind of lyrical approach to music from those guys, that's really what opened my eyes. Like, oh wow, this can be this really powerful thing like Tower of Power, but it can also be this depth and sweet and yearning kind of love pursuing, sound. It was just that whole range is just beautiful, and that's really what pulled me to it. So after I was 10 years old, I'm like, I'm going to play sax. I picked up sax when we started getting instruments in school. I was like, I'm playing. That's what I do. I do that.
Right.
I already knew I wanted tenor too, because I was like, that one has this extra little low end body that's just it was the right choice for me. It was never a question, even at that age, and it still is it's the right answer. Even as I've gotten older, I have a tenor right next to me. There's always a tenor next to me. So but it's interesting, like the other thing you said was that there's a sea of sax players, and there really is. And it's and I hear that a lot, but really my answer to that too is that, you don't I don't want to be a sax player, right? I want to be seen as an artist or a storyteller, and being seen in the broadness of what you can do. And it's like, we are the sum of our influences and how we've kind of taken those inspirations and kind of moved forward. But what we do and what we say is really what sets us apart. There's a lot of sax players that will, and it's no slight to anybody, but people sound alike and
Yes.
everything kind of gets lost together. But if you
Right.
really listen to our artistry, um, some will stand out and
Yeah.
you'll see and hear things that are just different. So to have people say, "Oh, there's too many sax players," well, are you listening to them? Do you know what they're doing, or are you just saying that because you see the instrument? You know.
It, it is funny you say something like that. We no longer have a radio affiliate here in town, a jazz radio
Hmm.
station. But there, back in the day, this is probably before you were born, when you hear somebody, I could tell you who it was. I could
Hmm.
tell you if it was Richard Elliott, and I could tell you if it was Sanborn. I could tell you if it was Grover. Right now, I can tell when it's Kirk Whalum. I can tell when it's Najee. And I'm starting to
Yeah.
listen to more and more of your stuff. How do you find that window of opportunity that now becomes yours and you run with it? I mean, and you take it and go, this is now my style. This is what I've learned. This is I've brought from I don't know, all the people that have influenced you. How do you get that person? What's your, let me just say it this way. What is your saxophone personality when you are playing?
That's a big question, and that's it's interesting because like again, going back to the influences, like I really love Richard Elliott. I really love Dave, Kirk, Gerald, all the guys in this format and everything. But the other people that really influenced me, and it's just a player that I will. There's just a technique that is just so daunting, and that's Michael Brecker. Was one of the guys that just was like, "Whoa, I
Hmm.
don't know what's happening over there," but it's so good, and just the control, and it's like that's really the I only bring that up because like him and especially Grover Washington, those were the guys that really like the older players. Him a little bit of Dexter Gordon, a little bit Cannonball too, but because the control and the finesse and everything. But the heart of Grover, and like the heart of Michael, they really click with me. But it's like now when like if I'm writing a song, each album has been kind of a journey to find more and more of myself and kind of
Hmm.
move forward to what does my heart really want to say? It's like when we work with people or we write our own music, it's like you're writing to the format, of course. So the format kind of I love the format because it gives you so much room for expression, but it's also very easy to fall into line. So
Hmm.
you have to kind of you have to take those liberties in what you feel and really follow your heart. And I feel like I have done that more and more going forward. But it's just to answer your question more specifically, it's like it's the moments when there's less going on, when there's moments when there's a lot going on. You have those room. Like you have the room to really show how soft you can be and I just like the word yearning, because it's
Hmm.
there's always that kind of that yearning heart at when it's softer. It could be aggressive, it could be slow, but it's just like what we do in those moments, those things, that's what I think you can really come through. And then also how you write your songs too, how the melodies flow. So it's like everything's a verse, pre-chorus, chorus. Almost every song is like that. There's a bridge and a solo and it
Hmm.
goes out. So how do you take these very listenable, structures that are formulaic and, start adding yourself on that and really what we choose for the melodies? That's why artists need to write their own melodies. I mean, at the very least, you need to because it can't be you otherwise. So when you're doing that, it's like you have so much room to really put yourself on this, and it's just crazy because now 3 albums in, we have the fourth album coming out next year. I really feel like we've consistently gone closer and closer to who I am as a player and closer to what you will see live too.
Hmm. Do you, our friend, he's not no longer here, David Sanborn told me once he does
Mm,
not listen to his music. He
mm,
plays it, he cuts it, I'm done. Like,
mm-hmm,
okay, I'm
mm-hmm.
I kind of get that, but I don't
Ah,
necessarily understand it. Do you go back and listen to some of the stuff you've done? Or
it.
I'm sure you've got a file cabinet with music that you haven't recorded. It's
Mm-hmm,
a hook or something.
mm-hmm.
When? when do you know that this is the right song? I should finish it and tune it up and all this sort of stuff. Or when should I go, I'm just gonna keep that over there and maybe save it for a later date.
Mm. Yeah, there's lots of music that's just sitting there that hasn't been done. There's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot of ideas. They're like, this is good, but is it good enough? There's a lot of like questioning yourself, and that really goes back to like when the song's done, like is it good? Like there's this period of time where it's like I can't listen to it. I need some time. Yeah, I'm so
Right,
close to the project, and when you're finally done, you're like, okay, this song, and you've actually ripped yourself away. You're like, it's not done. I need to re-record it
right,
about 18 more times, and then I'm still not done then. But it's like, that you have to rip yourself away and say, oh, this is good enough. And it's not that good enough is enough, but there's a point when it's like, okay, I mean, is it, we're
right.
there, but then
I
then it does take months, sometimes to actually go back and listen to it. But I'm not listening to myself on loop because it's just like, oh, I could have done that. I could have done that. I could
right.
have done that.
I mean, now there are occasions once the CD is released and it's 2, 3 months later, and you go, you know what? I could have done that. And I
Oh
and,
yeah.
and I know you don't want to go back and re-record it. And if you could, you'd never go forward. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like I'm going to do this hook over. I'm going to do this melody over. I
Mm-hmm.
I am I'm a fan, but I'm also that person who goes, I don't know how you get to the point of releasing those 8, 10, 12 songs, basically saying, I'm done and this is now me. And then that's your personality going out to the world, to your fans. And,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got to be, somebody might say, well, there's too much of this. Other people are like, oh, I love everything that you do. You got to
Mm-hmm.
be somewhere in the middle. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean?
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you keep up with that?
You just have to do it. You have to be okay with releasing it. I mean, it's a snapshot of time for you in that moment. And it's crazy because like how you feel during the days or weeks or moments in your life, like it will change what you play, what choices you make. And like you have to be okay with it. That's why you need time, I think, too. It's like I don't just want to be done with a song in a week. Like I wrote How I Feel with You very fast, up and up very fast, and embraced very fast, some other things very fast, but I spent time making sure it's like, okay, well, I'm going to like this
Hmm.
in a few years. I can look back at
Hmm.
this and be like, if, I want there to be some time where it's not just you're in this honeymoon phase where you just wrote this thing and it's good enough. But yeah, I mean, you want to please people too. Like you want people to like the music. And again, that's why you're playing to the format. But again, I really love this format and what it does. I have a lot of faith that what I like and want to record is something that people will like because
Okay.
I'm a very big fan of this format. I'm a very big fan of the history of saxophone and the emotion of humans. And I really I love, and I love the goodness of what we are as a species here. And I really think music is a very special way to channel the pure emotion into a world where we're becoming less and less. It feels like emotion is vanishing from this world sometimes. So
Hmm.
music is such a beautiful therapeutic thing. I feel I try to stay as in tune with that as possible. So whether I'm recording a song and I'm like, okay, how does this making me feel anything or not? And if it does make me feel something, then I'm like, okay, then we're close.
Okay. All right. Let's take a moment and take a listen to How I Feel with You on the Jazz Flight Podcast with our guest, Jeff Ryan.
Ooh.
Welcome back to the Jazz Flight Podcast. I'm Darrell Scott. He is Jeff Ryan. We just heard How I Feel with You.
Ooh.
Jeff, Jeff, what is it? I read something about you that you try to embrace the fans. You do it when you're doing a live show, there's an imagery you try to create between you and the people that you're playing for. Why is the best question, I guess.
Well, it makes it better. I mean, what's the point of being there if you're not as connected as you can be with the audience. I mean, you're trying to give them a show. You're trying to share what you're feeling on there. And the beautiful thing about instrumental music is that it's so subjective. Is that the right word? Is it, or is it objective? The one where, yeah, it's just you put everything into it, and you want people to feel what they want to feel in that moment too. And if you can get people to feel what you're doing, man, it's a beautiful thing. And you feel the response from a room when they're with you, and
Hmm.
it's just, I feel like it's a beautiful thing for them. It's a beautiful thing for me. It's a very it's just a very I don't want to say symbiote. I don't know. I'm going to use a lot of words here, but it's just it's really the whole. It's what makes performing live so great, because there's this energy and it's real, and it's
Hmm.
it's just so visceral, and there's just nothing like it. To be connected with people like that, and we always do as sax players. I'm sure you some people do. They'll all walk out.
Yeah.
We're all walking out in the audience. We
Right.
go do stuff, and it's just fun because you get to be close, but you just really see, it's like, it playing music too is a challenging thing, because you're always kind of second guessing. It's like, am I doing this right? We talked about that earlier.
Hmm.
So it's like, to have that validation, it's a good thing, and it's not just for ego, but it's like, we want to do the right thing for the people, for ourselves, and it's good to have that, and to have that connection, because it's like, we are playing the right things. This
Yeah.
this this is exciting. That this is good.
So here's the thing I found odd. I read somewhere where guitarists like Lee Ritenour, Jonathan Butler, Norman Brown, Wes Montgomery
Hmm.
are part of your influences.
Hmm.
Stupid question on my part.
Hmm.
How does a saxophone guy get whatever from guitarists? I don't
It's
see the correlation.
well, it's the same thing. I mean, they have their emotional expression too, and I honestly, guitar has been, actually, I have one. It's not over here. I have a whole bunch over there, but there's just there. I love guitar too, and you can tell such amazing stories on a guitar, and like like those artists, yeah, Lee Ritenour, Wes Montgomery, Norman Brown and stuff. I just love guitar. There's so many great players. There's Mark Antoine too, and Steve Oliver. Just there's so many. It's like, from nylon string to Spanish flamenco style, everything. It's just, I have so many transcriptions and stuff of, like, when they'll play, I'll play along and try to follow those lines, and even other instruments. And it's just, there's so much different flavor to get when you practice along with players on a different instrument, because you're not locked into, like, as sax players, we want to do certain things. It's a little bit easier, to kind of fall into.
Hmm.
So you start playing things from other instruments, whether it's a piano solo or a guitar solo. It's like, oh wow, you can do that, and it just opens these little nuggets and things. And of course, guitar players want to do certain things their way, and I don't know, it's very special. But all music is great, man. I would take from classical music. It's like, there's certain lines from, like, Debussy and Chopin that are just beautiful, and they just work, whether it's harmonic minor kind of vibes, or just the way that sound is. It's so moody, and there's something you can take from it and put into your own music. So little tiny things, but it's just, I think you should reach as far as you can, and be inspired by everything, besides just what your main
So Jeff, this
source is.
is kind of what I get from you. So I'm going to give you front row center seats at some theater, Hollywood Bowl here in Cleveland, Blossom Music Center, wherever, some concert hall, and you get to
Let's do
put
it.
on stage
Yeah.
your favorites.
Oh
You
goodness.
ain't got to pay for a ticket. You're just going to sit there. What does Jeff Ryan listen to when he's not writing songs, when he's not on tour, in your downtime? If you could, and if you're like me, I got a bunch of music in this room that we're sitting in, that once I start, I no longer have carpeting. I have album, show you how old I am. I have album covers all over the floor,
Yeah.
because one song moves me to another song, moves me to another artist. I'm
Yeah.
telling people, somebody asks me what's my favorite song, and I go, Ahmad Jamal and Ponciana. And they look at me and go, what? I go, yeah. I said, but there's also Grover and there's also this person. So when I'm playing those, I think of there's a group out of South America called Asthma. They do a song called Last Summer in Rio. Dude, it's tremendous. It's absolutely
Hmm.
tremendous. And
Yeah.
the other thing is it's like 10 minutes long. So it gives me time to think of something else. What
Hmm.
what are what are you listening to? What are you vibing to?
Like now in my life,
Yeah,
it's because it's really everything, man. I do still listen to I listen to a lot of my favorites still, like Dave and Richard and stuff. But I listen to a lot of Norman Brown, and I the thing is, I listen to a lot of country music. I
do
listen
you?
to a lot of EDM music. I spend a lot of time with that, especially when if you're going to the gym, it's got to be heavier. A lot of heavy metal, like old classic rock stuff too. I like Winger, and there's a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of artists in that vein. I just love the intensity of like heavy metal and stuff. But I mean, if I want to put something on that I just if I'm working on my computer, it would probably be whether it's some like ambient, EDM thing, or it'd probably be like I'd say probably more along the vein of like the Norman Brown, Wes Montgomery, Mark Antoine kind of world. I really love guitar. Stuff. But if I was at a concert and I'm listening, yeah, I'd want to see the same things. But I really loved jazz, man. If I'm going to be seeing something live and not just listening at home, I want to see either country music or I want to see jazz, because I think I want to see somebody perform something, truly perform in front of me. So I'd want to see. Um, I still love sax, man. I love listening to saxophone players. It's great. Like the really good. I just love it. I love it.
Put you on the spot. You get to pick five. I think
I get to
that's
pick
fair.
five.
Let's say you pick
Well,
five saxophonists. You got five. We'll narrow it down
five
to that. What five
saxophones.
saxophonists would you want to see?
Yeah, I have a lot of love for Dave. I love, I love Marcus, Richard, uh, Kirk. It's just all the greats. Boney. I love Mindy. But I'm outside that, there's this guy. Um, There's this guy Chad LB. He's doing stuff out there. That's pretty good. There's this what's the other guy's name? There's a few other players that are smaller right now, but they're really kicking. What's his name? I can't think of it right now. But
Okay, I'll give you
there's
a chance. I'll give you a chance to do some thinking about that. Let's
I
listen
need to
to
I need to think.
Where There's Hope from
Oh,
Jeff Ryan on the Jazz Flight Podcast. Welcome back to the Jazz Flight Podcast. I'm Darrell Scott. He's Jeff Ryan. You need to find this guy. You need to listen to this guy. You need to get all this stuff. So, Jeff, what is going on new? What are you working on now? And if I remember correctly, you were on the Dave Koz cruise. Is
we're
that right?
just on the Soma cruise over in the French Riviera, over
S-
the Côte d'Azur, right?
So when you are in an instance like that, and don't get me wrong, it hurt me for 2 weeks because half the people I wanted to interview were on the cruise, and I know they're not going to
Hmm.
do anything. But when you're in an environment like that, for lack of a better term, are you paying attention to what those other artists are doing? Are you picking up different tidbits or everything? Or are you just going, I'm on a ship, I get to relax, I can lock myself in my room, I can go sit on the patio, and you could be like Darrell and watch water and be the most relaxed person you've ever been. What what what
I
did Go ahead.
Well, just going on that, it's to be able to go to these just such special locations, and I mean that's one thing. So you want to be able to take in as much as you can of that. That was very important to us when we went. But again, to have the opportunity and to really respect those that allowed you to have that opportunity. So it's like, um, just a lot of love today for everything that he really allowed me to do, and be able to play with all these people and just be a part of that for everybody, and just a part of his family. That's an amazing thing. I just want to say that. But also, it's like with all the artists, it's like I feel like we're there to support each other too. So it's like I went to as many shows as I could,
Mm-hmm.
to listen, and there's so many amazing people. There was it's just we had DW3, and I've known them for a long time. I can name everybody, and there was just to name a few. There was Brian Ang. He's a piano player. It's just amazing. Honey La Rochelle, amazing singer. Todd Schroeder, amazing. Of course, DW3. Keiko Matsui, I played with Mark Antoine. It was amazing. So I was there to listen to music. I was there to see beautiful sights and just connect with people, and that's what we did. And I just want to take full advantage of that. I'll
That's
also
good.
rest, but not too much rest. There's a
Right.
lot of let's get going.
Are you in a situation like that? It's an all-star collection. When do you rehearse the songs?
So we rehearsed the week before, actually.
Oh.
So we still things are pretty impromptu sometimes, but,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of it is rehearsed like the week before, which is really nice because we don't always have that luxury on the road when you're playing with different groups. You have like, oh, you have an hour before you're gonna play, and then we got to
Right.
figure this out an hour before we play a show, and it's like, ooh, that's challenging. But with the week before, that's very nice. I very much like that.
Okay. So what's new for you coming up? What do you got new going on?
Well, we have the new album that's coming out next year. It's with Trippin' and Rhythm. But I do have after that we have the next thing coming up. The next show is the Catalina Jazz Tracks Festival. This is my fourth time there,
Oh,
so really excited about being there again. Bringing all new music. 'Cause I think the last time I was there was 2022, so it's been a few years, but I'm really grateful to be back. It's gonna be fantastic. We have a great show ready for it. So
I'm just gonna get a TV crew to travel around the world, around the different countries and videotape
hell
all
yeah,
the
man.
videos. And
Hell
just
yeah. That's-
it is I can't. There's a bunch of festivals and concerts that I've heard about that I'd like to go to, and I always go, I ain't got 100 grand because I'd be traveling the country
Yeah.
and be living off a plane.
Yeah,
Um,
amen. You know what's funny? Man? I was talking to Ollie Silk about this, and
yeah,
we had this idea. I actually wrote a few scripts on this because I I just really like writing, but it was this idea because like The Office and stuff like that. That's so I love that show. I'm a huge fan of that show, Parks and Recreation, and everything. I have a new show, The Paper. It's just fantastic. But um, I really want, if somebody listens and wants to do this, reach out to me or just do it without my permission. It's fine. But just a show about this format and what happens with the players backstage and the interactions and the wild characters that you come across. It would be a good little sitcom, and it would be interesting. It wouldn't be as direct as like The Office because they're all in an office, but like all the different players in this, man, it's interesting. It's a fun world, and we have a good time,
it
and
it it
it's crazy.
it, it is funny that you say that. So back in the day when I was in radio, we have an outdoor facility here called Blossom Music Center, and I was a big Yellow Jackets fan. And this is Ricky
Mhm.
Lawson, Russell Ferrante, Jimmy Haslip,
Oh yeah.
Will Kennedy. Um, I think Will's there. And so Ricky goes, "Come backstage." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go through these guards that are 6 by 8." He goes, "I'll tell them your name and they'll know who you are." I'm like, "Yeah, right."
Hmm.
So I do that, and I'm standing back there and I'm talking to Ricky, and Branford Marcellus comes over, and we're just talking. Somebody else is playing, and Branford goes, "Hey, let's go grab some buckets and sit on the side of the stage and listen to the show." I'm like, "You guys can do that because you are somebody. Me, I'm lower than a snake's belly." So next thing you know, here they come the buckets, and we're sitting off to the side. And if we're on the left side of the stage, the people on the right side can see us. And I've got
Hmm.
friends sitting over there. Fortunately, cell phones are not invented. But at the end of the show, really, Darrell? Really? You get to sit
Hmm.
on the stage and listen? I think seeing that environment and seeing the interaction from you folks
Hmm.
it is so cool. Just the interaction. I've always said what I'd like to do. I have many things I'd like to do, but I'd like to get, say, the Hollywood Bowl and just invite 150 musicians, and you just get to talk. You're not playing, telling stories of stuff, of your travels, of places you've been, I suggested to Nathan and Noah East, take pictures and create a
Hmm.
book, put a table book together. I said, you could sell it for $10. People are gonna buy it because it's the
Hmm.
places you've been and it's the shots you take. So when you're touring somewhere, pull out the phone, pull out the camera, take something, put it in a book, put it out there, and I'm sure people will buy it.
Not yet.
Nathan looked at me kind of like I was crazy. Well, I am, but that's a whole nother story. How can our fans keep in touch with what you're doing, see everything that you're doing? Are you into social media at all?
Yes, yeah. Check me out, Jeff Ryan Sax, Facebook, Instagram. You'll find me. I'm out there, and I have my website, jeffryansax.com. You'll see updates there, and then show updates too. But yeah, definitely on social media. That's such an important thing now. So you really, go on there. If you don't know who I am, please go on there. Please follow me. Please, if you like the music, really follow me. If you don't like the music, still follow me. You should do it.
Jeff, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah,
You're
you
a good
too,
cat.
man.
Um, at some point, and no, I'm not a concert promoter, but I'm getting phone calls about stuff. We got to get you here to Cleveland and and
Let's
and
do
and
it.
see this, man, and we'll see what we can do. Um,
Yes,
actually,
please. Yeah.
I actually have an idea in the back of my head that I don't. I'm the guy who has the ideas, but I don't tell anybody because if they
Hmm.
blow up, then
Hmm.
everybody thinks this way. I just kind of keep it and we keep working on it. But thank you
Yeah.
once again. Ladies
Thank
and
you, Darrell.
gentlemen, not a problem. You've been listening to the Jazz Flight Podcast. Our guest today was Jeff Bryan. If you like what we do, if you like this conversation, if you like hearing from these artists and hearing it from them, not from me, but from them, all you got to do is subscribe. Some of the people we've had. He's mentioned them, Gerald Albright, Kirk Whalum. The list goes on and on. And we still got more coming up. But thank you once again, and we'll talk to you next week. You've been listening to the Jazz Flight Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the Jazz Flight Podcast. I hope you enjoy these stories and soulful melodies that grew through the doors of time. If you want to stay connected with the latest updates and episodes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Until next time, I'm Darrell Scott.